This girl thought that no one in the class could understand Russian, so every day, she would say some sweet and coquettish things to her deskmate in Russian. What she didn't know was that her deskmate had already mastered Russian to a native level.
Милашка, милашка.
Why are you sitting there calling me a cutie? I understood that, you know, both times. What kind of weird mind games are you playing here?
Ой, покраснел. Прям как ребенок.
The girl, Ellie, was a daydreamer who was a half Japanese. Not only was she an excellent student, but she was also first in every sport. Whenever she entered the school, she would become the center of attention. But her personality was aloof and difficult to approach. Even when the school heartthrob confessed his love to her, she would coldly and mercilessly reject him. However, no one could have predicted that the cold, untouchable goddess would fall for her deskmate, who often watched anime and played video games. Although Ellie would always show disgust when meeting Jack, she would secretly speak her true feelings to him in Russian.
Милашка. What is it?
Did you just say something?
Yes, I did. I was remarking on how pathetic you look.
Well, excuse me then.
But Ellie had no idea that Jack had actually played with a Russian girl when he was younger. In order to communicate with her, he had worked hard to learn Russian. Even though Jack knew that Ellie was secretly praising him in Russian, he never dared to tell her that he understood, because he feared that Ellie would be embarrassed and angry upon finding out the truth. So, to ease the awkwardness, Jack would take out his phone to play a card game. Whenever he drew a rare card, he would cheer excitedly. Ellie would snatch the phone away to see the character, noticing the character had silver hair instead of black. She also overheard Jack talking about how cute the character's illustration was, which made Ellie feel a little jealous, but she didn't dare to say it out loud. Instead, she would silently begin to complain in Russian again.
А у меня что? Не серебристые волосы? Какой изменник.
What was that?
I called you an addict, a total game junkie.
At lunch, Jack was eating with two of his friends when unexpectedly, the three main school goddesses appeared at the same table. In addition to the well-known mixed-race school beauty, Ellie, Jack's sister, Nina, and the stunningly beautiful Annie were also there. At first, Jack didn't pay much attention, but to his surprise, Annie had already set her eyes on him. Through their conversation, everyone learned that Annie and Jack were childhood friends. When Ellie heard how close the two were, she felt a twinge of jealousy in her heart. The next day, Jack arrived at school early. Although he and Ellie were supposed to share the cleaning duties, he impulsively decided to take care of everything himself. Soon, Ellie arrived and was surprised to see him handling everything. Jack, too, was surprised when he noticed that Ellie's socks were very dirty. Ellie explained that it was from the splash of water from a truck on her way to school. Though unlucky, it was no big deal, as the school had spare socks. However, when she took off her socks, she noticed that Jack didn't leave to avoid the awkward situation, which gave her a mischievous idea to have Jack help her get a new pair of socks from the cabinet. Though Jack was reluctant to help, he still went to get them for her. But what he didn't expect was that Ellie would ask him to help her put them on. She even said it was a reward for him. At first, Jack intended to refuse, but when Ellie called him a coward, he became angry and no longer hesitated. He decisively grabbed Ellie's foot, and this sudden assertiveness made Ellie feel embarrassed.
That was just a joke!
You called me a coward, so you leave me with no choice. Gotta maintain my pride sometimes, at least.
Watch where you put your